Okay, so I'm going to do a quick little video here, and we're going to talk about catches. So, we're going to look at a few different videos. We've got a couple from the 2017 PE Cup from Henley, and we've got the one from the Diamonds Final with Hannes Obreno and Mahi Drysdale. We're going to take a look at this here, and we'll see how this goes. So generally what I'm going to talk about with catches is there's a lot of things that have to go right for somebody to have a really well-timed catch. And people will oftentimes say we want quick catches. I have switched my terminology over the years, actually, because it is not so much a factor of saying quick catches. What I find happens is when we talk to rowers and athletes about quick catches, they tend to rush through the process. That's what they think of when we say quick. So especially near the top end of the slide here, they will come up and they will try to rush through that really quick. But what we really mean is just quick hands and proper timing of the lift. And when I say quick hands, I mean the hands moving in a vertical direction to lift up and place the blades in and get them buried as quickly as possible. The slide, the recovery to the catch, should always be controlled. It should always be very smooth and very relaxed. It should be very relaxed. That doesn't mean that you're going slow, because if you're rowing a 40 rate, you're going to be going through the process fairly quickly. You don't have a lot of time in between each stroke, but you still want to make sure that you are relaxed and you're not rushing the process. You're just going through the stroke quickly. And that's one thing that I'll try to make another video on at some point, that pushing rate isn't about rushing up the slide. It's about just going through the cycle more quickly. You're still doing everything correctly. You're still doing everything in the proper fashion, proper mechanics. You're just going through the process quicker. But that's for a different video. Right now we're talking about catches. So we want to make sure that that approach and the timing of the lift of the hands is accurate to how we are approaching the point of maximum compression, because we want those blades to go in at the point of maximum compression so that we can maximize the length of the stroke in the water. If we don't do that, we are going to miss some of that water. So if we come over here, we're going to look at Orange Hat. Okay, so we're looking over at Orange Hat guy here. So he's come up to the point. What we're going to look for is point of maximum compression. So if we watch the shins, here's basically point of maximum compression. The shins don't change. The angle that we see here at the knee doesn't change from then. So that's basically his point of maximum compression. So when he's here, boom, that's maximum compression. We look at his blade the previous stroke, and notice the blade height remains the same. Looking at Orange Hat's blade, he hits that point of maximum compression, and now the blade starts to go down, but by then it's too late, because we've hit that point of maximum compression. And unless we are just stopping at the catch and waiting around, which actually a lot of people do, we need to have that blade in the water. Okay, now some people will get there and they'll just sit there and wait, and then go. That's worse, right? But if we come up there, boom, he waits, he starts to do that, but at the same time he's pressing those legs down, and we can see that the blade gets rowed into the water, right? So that's a missed catch. And the blade is finally buried about here. I would say it probably has a nice grab on the water here, but we'll go with here. And now we come back and we look at the angle here on the shins, so we can see how much he has moved through that point. We can see also that the body's opening a little bit early, but that's neither here nor there. But again, we look at that point of maximum compression where that angle doesn't change. Boom. So we're basically going here. The blade is staying level. There's no lift on it. And now it starts going, and you can see that as it's going there, it's also moving forward into the water. So that's a missed catch. That's an improperly timed catch. The hands were not lifting as he approaches that point of maximum compression, which we need to do. It's always that last couple inches where we want to be easing those hands up, getting ready so that that blade hits the water as we hit the point of maximum compression. And that should be basically a simultaneous occurrence. We want to hit point of maximum compression as the blade hits the water, so that we can then just pop the hand straight up, boom, like that, like they're on strings to God, and God just yanks that string up. puts the blade in the water, and we engage the legs, and we have a nice, good grab on the water from the maximum length of the stroke. So we're going to come over and we're going to take another look here at this crew, and we're looking at 3-seat here, so we're looking at 3-seats blade. We're going to maximize this. Okay, so we come back up here, we're looking point of maximum compression, so here it is, right? So here we see that blade starting to come down a little bit. So this is a little bit better actually, but then we see the 1, 2, and he's now moving it forward, and again it gets rode in. And this is because we have 1, 2, look at this. Now how many frames do we have? 3 frames till that blade hits the water, okay? So he comes up, that blade should be already prepped to hit the water on this frame. Bang, that's point of maximum compression right there. That blade should be hitting the water at this point. Boom, and it buries and pushes it away. Okay, that's what we want, because we want that synchronous timing, that synchronous touch on the water from the blade with the synchronous hit of the maximum compression. Now, and again, these are good crews. These are crews that are competing at Henley. So they are not slouches, right? No matter how well or poorly they do in this race, they're a crew that knows how to row. They are good. So I'm not trash talking anybody in here. I'm not saying that particular individuals or crews are a bunch of duds. They're all decent rowers. But we're always looking for ways that we can get better, that we can improve, that we can push our rowing to the next level skill-wise. So now we're going to come to where I think it was done fantastically. Okay, we're going to look here at this race between Obreno and Drysdale. So what we're looking here is we take this stroke and we're going to back him up. Okay, so here he comes. He's coming up, and I think, again, he could have his hands a little lower here. I like seeing the wrists actually above the hands, because now it's pulling it down a little bit. I think he's got a little too much curve in the back, but he performed very well. I do think that those are areas that I might work on with him. However, we're not talking about that. We're talking about catches. So look at this. Now we're looking for that point of maximum compression. So we're looking at the shin angle here, the shin angle. That's what we're looking for. Where is that point of maximum compression? Right here, okay, because we see that angle. Boom, see how that angle still compresses a little bit, but there it's starting to move away. Look at that fast turnaround. That is, he spends such little time at that maximum compression point. That is fantastic. Okay, this is high quality stuff. He's not spending any time there. Now, what we also want to see here is, where's that point of maximum compression? Boom, right there, and then he instantly engages the legs. But look at the blades for the previous few frames. Okay, he's still approaching. He's approaching. The blades are moving down to the water. Look at that. That far blade, boom, it's almost on the water. There's his point of maximum compression. And that blade and the close one are hitting that water. We go one more frame now. We're going to look at this here, the angle between the shin and the thigh. We advance it. Boom, he's pushing away. Those blades hit exactly at the moment that he hits that point of maximum compression. And that way, he's got the maximum length here that he can possibly have. Right? That blade is going to be as far back as it possibly can be. He's got nice spread here. He's got good straight arms. And then he buries it, boom. And look at this here, right? He's doing that all from point of maximum compression. So he's getting those blades buried as long as he possibly can. And look at this freaking, he's a little raised in the shoulders, but look at this hang. Look at the stretch on these muscles right through this drive. Frick, this is, that's so nice. That's such good hang, right? And look at how much he gets out of the legs before the shoulders are passing the hips. I mean, there's a lot of really high quality stuff going on in this stroke. There's definitely things that I would encourage him to work on, but like there's a lot of really good stuff. And this, as far as catches go, to me, this is almost as good a catch as you will ever see, right? So Hannes Obreno is on game right here. He is freaking making it happen. Right, and then you can see, right, because he's had such a long stroke, because those blades are buried so far back, look at all the time that he can just lever those blades through the water, right? We get that nice bend on the blades. Arms are still hanging. Look at this, right? Legs are almost done. Arms are still hanging. Frick, look at this. Really nice stuff, right? But that's what I'm looking for when I'm trying to coach somebody to have a good catch. It's this kind of timing, and it is tough. It is tough to do. So to see it done this well at a very, at a critical, like one-on-one race at the point where people are starting to get a little tired, this is really, really impressive stuff, right? And look at that, bang. That's what we're looking for. So when we see other crews, we're going to come to this WSU. Now, this is from a number of years ago. This is 2019. So I don't feel too bad using these guys either. And what we see here, right, is again, we're coming point. Now, they're novices, right? They're novices. So they're going to be a little bit worse. And we've got balance issues and everything else here. But what we're looking at here is point of maximum compression, where they get compressed max here, and when those hands really start raising. So notice the amount of lift that happens here. Now he has to lift it high because it's down on the opposite side. But when do the hands really start moving? Right? There. Point of maximum compression, and then the hands move. Right? Same thing here. Look at this guy. Right? Point, he's way reaching. But point of maximum compression, and then the hands move. Right? He's way up there. He doesn't do anything with it while he's up there because that shin isn't really moving here. And then the hands move up. That lift has to come as you are progressing up that slide. You want that lift. I'm just going to mute this here. We'll come to the next one. See here again, right? Now the lift occurs. Now we get the lift. Look at how long he's kind of sitting there with those shins doing nothing while he's just lifting those hands. And this time it's down on their side. So that just shows how much wasted time there is at the catch. And we see a lot of this, right? We see a lot of people like this. This guy, whoever he is not an oddity. He's not an oddity. And every one of us who has started rowing, almost every one of us, there's obviously going to be exceptions. We have all been this person. We have all had hanging catches where we just let them sit around. But we want to, if we want to really take our rowing to the next level, I'm a big believer in length at the catch. Doesn't mean reach. It just means compress, keep the body position very strong, very mechanically sound, but maximizing that entry point where we get there. And when we come to our point of maximum compression, that blade has to be hitting the water. So I'm a big, big, big believer in this. So when I work with people, I try to stress to them to feel this point, to make sure that we are getting this correctly. A way that you can do work on this is if you're in crew boats, have other people call you out, right? Have other people sort of mention, are you still, this person ahead of you can watch your shins and they can see your blades out of the corner of their eye, or if they look kind of between you and the blade and they don't look at either, but you can pick up the motion from your peripheral vision very well. So you can have them look there. You can also do something like slap catches, where you try to time so it's a synchronous stop of the shins and the slap of the blade on the water, right? And that way you can try hopefully have something tactile with how you're actually moving and with when the blade hits the water. And what you'll find is a lot of times people will get up to the top, stop, and then they'll hear the smack. And it takes them a little while of doing this because our brain doesn't actually tell us initially what's going on. A lot of times our brain lies to us. Our brain tells us what we think is happening rather than what is actually happening. So you may have to have people do this a few times before they actually start to clue in on it. A funny video that I had once actually was we were doing a drill, and now this is just me rambling, but we were doing a drill where people were looking at their blades to watch the point of entry to try and work on making sure that that blade was hitting properly and well timed and going in. And I told them, watch your blade, and I'm recording them. And almost everybody, the point of entry, they would turn their head away and look elsewhere, and then they would look back to their blade when it was coming through the water. Almost 100%. And I would ask them, did you see it go in? And they're saying, yeah, I saw it go in, and it was good. And I'm like, no, it wasn't. It wasn't good. You weren't even watching your blade. And they're like, yes, I was. And I'm like, no, you're not. And then we played the video for them afterwards, and they're like, holy smokes, I'm not even looking at my blade. But they thought they were, because their brain was telling them that they were, seeing that moment of entry. So it's interesting how our brain can lie to us a lot of times. So this is why it takes some time to get used to these drills, but that is a very good one because you have multiple cues coming in. You've got auditory cues, plus you've got the sound of the slide when the slide stops. You've got the feeling of when your body stops. You've got the feeling of the blades hitting the water. You've got a bunch of different things going on, and you want to try to sync all those up. But basically, when I'm looking at catches, this is what I'm looking for, right? This is, to me, an ideal catch. This is absolutely fantastic stuff, super high quality. And you can see how just hanging off a few fractions of a second here with some of these guys, like Orange Hat guy here. And again, I'm not highlighting him specifically because freaking he's terrible, because this is not bad. If we play this at full speed, you hardly notice it, right? You hardly notice it. But look how the last frame, it doesn't move. He's compressed, but his blade isn't lifting. And in fact, his blade should have been lifting here. And this is why I'm a big fan of early roll up on the square as well, because he should probably start easing that blade towards the water at this point. So it's going close to the water, close to the water, close, and now it hits because that's his maximum compression, right? And if he'd done that, he would have had a much better catch. And it's not just him. If everybody had been doing that, they would all have much, much better catches. And therefore more kick off the start of the stroke. So anyways, that's my little speech about the catches. And, hopefully somebody found something of value. If you did, please feel free to like or comment. If you didn't, also feel free to dislike or comment. I'm always going to welcome seeing that stuff, and I'm not going to cry myself to sleep if somebody disagrees with me. There you go. And I guess that's all. I'll talk to you later.